Hello everyone, season 43, war number 2. We're against 4 Loki. As you saw at the start of the video, I kind of started recording as I was walking into the fight. I forgot to record my first 2 fights. They were pretty boring fights anyway, so you didn't really miss much. But at the minute I'm fighting Danny Moonstar on path 6 in section 2 on the second node. It's a pretty simple fight with Future Ant-Man. Before this fight I had laid a death strike on path 6 on the first node on section 2, and I used Hulkling, and I didn't use any specials because 1, she regens from them, and 2, she can go unstoppable. And then in section 1 I had a Future Ant-Man on path 3 with Hulkling, so yeah, both pretty simple fights and pretty boring fights to be honest. So yeah, that Danny Moonstar went down pretty fast. It was a nice, easy matchup. And now I've got this Spider-Man Supreme on the Intercept Mini, and I'm using Torch. I've got a Wags pre-fight, and I'm using my Nova Flames. To be honest, going into this fight, I wasn't thinking at all. Luckily he didn't play into the Intercept. Here I realised, and then there I was just like, hey, he's stunned anyway, I might as well just hit into him for no reason at all. But yeah, here we get above temperature and we start thinking, we get the Intercept, build up a bit more temperature, and yeah, now the fight's basically over. So yeah, it's a really easy fight with Torch and a Wags pre-fight, but I just wasn't thinking whatsoever when that fight started. Luckily it didn't cost me anything. We did end up winning the war. Yeah, it was a bit of a clown fest on both sides, so hopefully we can clean it up for next war. And also I hope 4 Loki can clean it up because I know they're better than that. But yeah, since I only recorded 2 of my 4 fights, I thought I'd add in some extra clips. I recorded a few fights on my mini account, and this is Man-Thing on the mini on paths 1 to 3 in section 1. And yeah, I had an Invuln on, and to be honest I was just going to try and bait out specials, but then when I realised he was being stingy, I was like, I've got an Invuln on, I'll just keep pushing him to SP3. So here we're just going to tank the first SP3 with my Invuln, and then once I've tanked this I'm just going to go ham, and I'm just not even going to worry about baiting specials out, just because there's no point really. Because I've got the surface synergy, so every time I was to gain a one of Man-Thing's buffs, or if I was to Dex or something like that, then I would give him a power gain, which luckily I checked the nodes before the fight started, and I popped an Invuln. And I think this is like the second time that I've taken this node since it got changed. First time I was using Void, so I was just reversing the power anyway. So yeah, luckily I read the nodes and I popped the Invuln. So yeah, so here, dropped the SP2. It did 100k on the base attack, and then the burst damage was like 200,000. Right, and now we've got more on node 23, and I'm using Hulk. And again, I've got the surface synergy, so I won't get any degen, and I also won't have to worry about Mystic Dispersion. So yeah, the only worry in this fight really is to just watch out for the root, and also the bubble shield. I have a nice play around the root node. I don't see many people doing it, but I'll point out when it happens and I'll tell you what I do. It's especially cheesy for more because you'll see, but yeah. So obviously you can't parry his first medium, so when he dashes in you can just dex and parry. Obviously when he doesn't do 2 mediums he gets stunned. But yeah, here I don't want a heavy to activate my rage early, so I'm trying to just build up my charges. And then I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to knock him down because it might get out of control if I leave it. So I'll knock him down, make it so he's not focused anymore, and drop the SP2. Does some decent damage, and I do have power backs on, but it didn't give me much back. So here we're just going to bait this special out again. I get rooted, throw the SP1 into the air, and it pushes him back. Now the falter's coming back up, so we have to wait it out. So see, parry dex, parry even, and then it's just a nice way to get around the root, I've found. every time I fight against this root node, I always use it. It's just really useful. So yeah, here I was trying to bait special, but he wasn't throwing it, so I just decided to push him to SP2. I saw I was at 10 bubble shield charges, and I just I dashed back and held block a little bit so he wouldn't throw the SP2, and then I just dexed his medium so that his SP2 wouldn't be unblockable. And yeah, it's a bit of a long fight. I think if my SP2 would have crit, it would have been a lot easier and it would have finished by now, but there's not really much risk to this fight. Hulk's just an absolute beast, and he will definitely be my first science rank 2/rank 5. And then last up, we've got this Sasquatch on 48, and I'm using AA. This is a rank 2 Sasquatch, and I'm using a rank 4 AA. And going into this fight, I just thought, parry heavy, simple fight. And I actually forgot about he has the power efficiency node. So whenever he goes in Wrath, he just doesn't lose any power when he uses a special. But I ended up playing around that. So yeah, it's basically just parry heavy. It's a pretty simple fight. You can also heavy counter him pretty reliably. So yeah, now Sasquatch is in Wrath. And I pushed him to the SP2 and I was like, yeah, I'll just bait this out. And then I realised he didn't lose any power. But yeah, I just heavy countered. He's just under an SP3, so we just bait it out. We heavy counter it, get another Noro. And yeah, now he started to lose power, so we can keep parry heavy in. We did get some pretty bad RNG here, like we didn't get any poisons for like 3 blocked hits, and yeah, but here we just turtle up, re-parry, and I thought I parried him there, so I just threw my SP1 to push him back. If if it hit his block, it would have pushed him back, but yeah, just a bit of safety. And then yeah, he's almost down, he's close to going in Wrath again. So I'm kind of wary about my parry heavies now. I'm trying to watch the charges and make sure that he just gains one before I stun him parry heavy. Because if he just gains one, then he can't gain another one for like a few more seconds, so I know I have time to parry heavy. But yeah, Sasquatch is down. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.